A warm welcome to the 1994 Women's European Artistic Gymnastic Championships from the Globe Arena in Stockholm, Sweden. We'll be concentrating over the next 2.5 hours on the women's all-around competition, the most coveted of prizes to be won at these European Championships, with the 4 apparatus scores being added together. Well, it's just 3 weeks away or ago that we were in Brisbane in Australia for the World Championships, and this is just part of Eurosports' dedicated coverage of the international gymnastics scene. Well, it's been 3 weeks since I've been in the commentary box with our resident expert Monica Phelps, who's been very busy at the Olga gym down in Parkstone Pool. Monica, not quite the atmosphere and tension of the Worlds, but still some very impressive performances from some of the youngsters and the seniors, and a very high-profile competition yet again on Eurosport.
Oh yes, most certainly. We've got of course we've got the big names like Milosevic, because it's European and no Chinese. But this is a real in-house competition because it's a battle of the giants between the ex-Soviet gymnasts and the Romanians. The Soviet camp, as it were, have had 9 titles and the Romanians only 4. And so they'll be really hungry for Milosevic to get this one. Of course, having just missed out from the World Championships, Octavian Belu will be really keen to take that title back to Romania.
And indeed, Lavinia Milosevic really has been in sparkling form in the team competition, which was held on Thursday and Friday. She played a very important role in giving that team gold to Romania, with Russia taking the silver medal and the Ukraine the bronze in 3rd position. But there are a whole host of youngsters that have broke through onto the circuit, especially in Brisbane, and she will be doing battle, Lavinia Milosevic, with Gina Gogean, Svetlana Khorkina, and of course Jelena Piskun, just to name a few. So we've seen Milosevic get a bout of the nerves in competitions gone by, and this will not be an easy European title to take. Well, a warm-up for the first of the 4 rotations that we will be seeing this evening. 24 gymnasts have qualified in the senior competition, with 106 starters. So a very difficult qualification for this all-around competition, and also 24 different nations taking part at these 1994 European Women's Championships in Stockholm. First competitor that we'll be seeing will be Klaudia Kinska from Slovakia, and she will begin her all-around competition with the beam exercise, first of 4 points to be scored this evening.
And that disastrous start, because 5/10 deduction immediately for the start of the exercise, and then the gymnast has to really get herself together. Straight into a tumble series. Oh, big wobble as well. So she's lost 5/10 plus 2/10, and she really has to work on composing herself now. That's the necessary gymnastic combination. Change leg split leap into a C-zone. 4 disciplines. And beam, the very worst piece on which to start. Acrobatic series, double flick into straight back, but again an adjustment with the arms, which the judges will deduct for. That's a very difficult leap, called a ring leap, bending the back leg and the eyes coming away from the sight of the beam. The exercise, maximum of 1 minute and 30 seconds, double back dismount. But a shame for her, a fall and a large wobble to her debit.
Well, the 15-year-old from Slovakia, 48th in the World Championships in Brisbane just over 3 weeks ago. A disastrous start there for the youngster, possibly a bout of nerves. Not easy being first up in the European Championships.
And looking end on from that mount, she actually was too far to the left of the springboard, which obviously threw her down to the left-hand side of the beam. So just rather careless in sighting up her mount.
Svetlana Milosevic of Belarus. First exercise on the floor for this youngster, a new name to the international scene.
Yes, a totally new face to me. Whip into full in, back out. Obviously a powerful little girl. Out of the floor there, but on 2 tumbles she really has had a very long run. It is necessary to get speed and attack, but she'll be penalized for the length of the run, and of course a 10th for going out of the area. Double spin landing way off center, again another penalty. Only 2 tumbles required, but performing 3, and in fact performing 4, because 3 of them had front somersault entries. I think we're going to see a very large cross-section of ability in this competition, because we've got the really experienced gymnasts like Milosevic. While only 17, she has had a tremendous amount of international experience, and right down to the newcomers. Here the full twisting front somersault in a pucked position, walk out, and then the Arab spring, and that the whip salto, like a flick-flack without putting the hands down. And there a double twist, and she went right out of the area totally. She didn't step out, it was totally misjudged.
Well, the 15-year-old from Minsk awakes her score, the first scoring of this European Championship competition, Claudia Kinska. Second position, 9.087 for her beam exercise. Polakova of the Ukraine. The Ukraine delighted with their bronze medal in the team competition. Now, Irina, 9th in the qualification for this. The points used from the team competition, the top 24 from 106. So a new name that was very promising indeed in the earlier team competition this week.
And that's a very bold mount, similar to Kinska's mount, but with the somersault entry from the Arab spring. And a more highly rated difficulty, the change leg split leap into a second jump. The judges are looking for combinations of acrobatic, and that's tumbling, and gymnastic skills. Oh, nice. Arab spring, straight back somersault, using the beam like a road. And Polakova really going well. Front somersault there. Tuck jump, Corbett flick. The elements in women's gymnastics graded in difficulty, from A being the simplest up to E being the most difficult. Not quite holding the one arm, but aesthetically very beautifully performed. And the horrible full spin that so many gymnasts come to grief on. But so far, a very keen performance. Flick to 1, flick to 2, double back, oh yes! And for Polakova, a really good start, some excellent work, excellent variety of skill. I think that she'll clock up a pretty good score for that routine.
Certainly a gymnast who's on the upward improvement side in her performance. Irina, 16th in the all-around competition in the World Championships in Brisbane, was 9th to qualify, as we said earlier, and that really is a very positive and focused start to her 4 apparatus campaign this evening.
Just the slackness around the knees affecting the dismount, but other than that, very clean.
Milosevic goes into first position with her floor routine, 9.425. Remember, she landed right out of the floor markings. so there will be a lot better to come. But for now, the youngster is in first position. Lambrina Apostolidou of Greece. 11th position in the qualification, just 15 years of age, quite experienced, and was delighted with her 20th position in the World Championship all-around competition in Australia 3 weeks ago, and Greece certainly one of the rising stars of artistic gymnastics.
Yes, Lambrina not alone. There are some really brilliant gymnasts coming out of Greece. Double back, straight in pike out, or a whip in pike out. Difficult to judge from the angle we're seeing it. Very capable gymnast, but the routine rather mechanical, and the tumbling side letting her down because the length of the tumbles rather restricted. A good tumbler travels lightly across the floor and then lifts high into the air, and she really did lack on the tumbling qualities in the exercise.
If Lambrina can find the form that brought her 11th position in the team competition and the qualification for this all-around event, well, she's on target for a personal best by a long way. Possibly not her most favoured apparatus to start with, the floor. Certainly to watch out for in the A-bars. Irina Bolakova goes into first position, 9.687, and the Ukraine looks to put the pressure on the Romanians. Early days in the competition, 4 rotations, but this is one of the stars. Dena Kochetkova for Russia really did capture the hearts and the applause of the fans in Brisbane, Australia, and she's certainly looking a lot more relaxed than she did 3 weeks ago, Monica.
Yes, this is Leonid Arkiev's challenge to the Romanians. Dena Kochetkova, 3rd in the World Championships, and quite an unsuspecting 3rd too. She came in stealing medals on 2 of the individual apparatus finals, and she already looks a seasoned performer. That little bit of success has given her overwhelming confidence. Looking amazingly fit. Striations of the leg musculature visible. Back tumble combination. Full twisting flick-flack. And viewers at home, you can judge too, because a good beam worker travels across the beam with speed. The faster they travel, the harder it is to fall, and the harder it is to accumulate wobbles. And Dena Kochetkova going very well indeed. Lovely combination of a jump into a backward roll. The backward roll easy, but difficult to make look beautiful. That's the 3rd full twisting flick-flack we've seen. Each one has been from a different combination. dismount, flick-flack, to 1, to 2, double back. Certainly quality of movement, but I would suggest rather biased on the type of skills used. But beautiful gymnastics. There, the full twisting flick-flack, but a slight adjustment afterwards. She'll get a penalty for that. And we might see yet another. She did 3 here, another one, but this time to the chest roll, and quite a heavy adjustment, trying to line herself up. And now just picking up the third of the similar type. Yes, that is the third one, depending on how she moved out of it. So although all 3 skills were very similar, she used them in different combinations, which is permitted.
Well, we return to Apostolado, goes into third position, 9.425 for her floor exercise. And early days in the competition, worth noting that Khorkina, the bronze medalist in the World Championships in Australia, only claimed or qualified a 10th position. But here's another one of the stars of the Russian squad, Svetlana Khorkina.
A very clean opening tumble, nice and high too. Khorkina and Khorkina, great pals. And very similar types of gymnasts, slender and elegant. She came to grief in the World Championship on that particular tumble. She's obviously been back home training it. And that's how a double pirouette should be performed. Lovely musical interpretation. Bit of the old charisma that Boginskaya could produce in her floor exercise. And a triple twist to finish. Svetlana Khorkina, one of the most elegant gymnasts of the present era. Beautiful work.
Well, she claimed 2 silver medals in the World Championships in Brisbane 3 weeks ago in the individual apparatus, but it was this tumble and this performance that let her down in the all-around competition, only managing 9th position. And I have to say that that will really have infused and done her confidence no harm at all.
And Svetlana so slender that she doesn't look as though she can produce the power. Just look at the beautiful split on those jumps. Wonderful amplitude. And a nice little combination there into the full twist.
Khorkina goes into first position at 9.762. And already the 2 favourites from Romania will start to feel the pressure. Gina Gogean and Milosevic are still to perform. Galina Lazarova for Bulgaria on the beam. She now finds herself chasing. Khorkina now leading for Russia.
Bulgaria's challenge. Bulgarians not present at the World Championships in Brisbane. Once a tremendous force to be reckoned with in women's artistic gymnastics, but I think they're restocking their shelves. In the junior event, 2 Bulgarians performing well, coming into the top 12. Bulgarian gymnasts as well, always under tremendous pressure because they train so very hard, have a very powerful gymnastic system, but every time they come onto the international circuit, so much is expected of them. And I'm sure that mistakes there made by Galina are only typical of the pressure that they feel because they're trying to regain their ranking in world gymnastics. And that fall there, she landed straight-legged, fortunately didn't injure herself, but certainly lost 5/10, and she won't be too popular.
13th position for the Bulgarian team as Khorkina now goes into the lead, 9.775. So the two Russian girls have got off to a blinding start, one has to say, with the two favourites from Romania, Gogean and Milosevic, still to perform. So that really is a good start. And the battle, well, it continues. One of the Ukrainian favourites and superstars, Lilia Podkopaeva.
Different type of gymnast from the two Russians that we've just seen. A little powerful package, this one, but tremendously strong on these bars. Just the split legs on the Gina there, but other than that, going beautifully. Lovely shapes in the handstands and the giants. Their double giant up. Oh no, full twisting double back, and it was such a lovely exercise. Right from her stolder on the bottom bar and the turns, then the hop change in the giant, full twisting giant. Oh, and she must be really annoyed about that. Obviously has trained so very, very hard. But just overcooked the landing and bounced to her seat. She really could do nothing about it.
Well, so close to saying that Ukraine were going to be amongst the battle there for this European all-around title. Sad for Podkopaeva, who will struggle now with all 4 apparatus points added together, and the highest score awarded the European title for 1994. Well, we're still in the first of the 4 rotations as the challenge from the Ukraine continues. Natalia Kalina, 20 years of age, qualified in 7th position for Natalia, and that's a very pleasing performance. And if she can maintain that kind of consistent scoring in the final, well, she is right on target for a personal best. And let's hope that, having witnessed that fall of her teammate Podkopaeva, will not affect her concentration and focus for her first challenge of the competition.
I'm very interested to see Kalinina's form because I haven't seen her for 2 or 3 years, and to compete at this level at 20 years old is a great achievement, and I'd like to see more women still in this sport at this age. Nice undershoot to handstand, proving that it's not just a sport for prepubescent skinny children. Fully fledged woman there, performing a good bar routine, not with top difficulty, but getting through comfortably with the required elements.
Well, worthy note on that point that you were making, Monica, that the FIG have announced at a press conference just before the start of this competition some of the new rulings to be adopted in the international world of gymnastics after the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. And for me, the most important one, and we were discussing it before this live broadcast, is that the minimum age for international competition will now, or will then, in 1996, become 16 years of age, which we all believe is very good for the sport of gymnastics. Also, no more compulsory exercises after the Atlanta Olympic Games. We await the scores. 9.3 for Podkopaeva, who took that tumble on the A bars, we can inform you. Still the best score of this competition in the first rotation, 9.775. Svetlana Khorkina as the local girl, Jessica Anderson.
With a new vault. She put so much into it, she overcooked it, and I bet that isn't usual. Handspring 1.5 somersault with pike, and that a difficult vault. Nice to see the Swedes in the runnings. This is a very good vault. Excellent. Could have done with straightening out on the twist, and then she wouldn't have had to run backwards. She'll have a heavy penalty on the landing. This pretty powerful. There's a handspring, 1.5 somersaults from the hands, half twist in the second half of the somersault, and she just can't believe that she's overcooked it.
Andreasen there, just 19 years of age, 33rd in the European Championships of 1992 held in Nantes, France. 9.437, her first vault score. Remember, in competition 2, 2 vaults with the aggregate, the score awarded.
Oh, she didn't learn. And a gymnast of that caliber really has the ability to assess where the vault went wrong, and having already run back, knowing that she created the run back by a pike, in other words, folding at the hips, she really had it within her power to try and improve that by altering her landing. Technique off the top. She was piked as she was twisting, so she ran out of twist. And that really cost her. What a shame. But I don't suppose the score will lift much, if at all. But I think all too happy to land on her feet.
I was just about to say, Jessica Andreasen there, a smile. Not easy performing in front of your home crowd. A lot of added pressure. We saw that at the World Championships in Brisbane with some of the young rising stars from the Australian team, really finding it tough. And, well, you don't really need to understand Swedish when you know the crowd is shouting like that. 9.400, so the aggregate of the two, 9.418, and it puts Jessica Andreasen into 9th position so far in the all-around competition. Still in rotation 1. Another one of the stars of international gymnastics takes to the asymmetric bars. Yelena Piskin for Belarusia.
Oh, nice combination. Delchev, somersault into the undershoot to handstand. Wonderful work, but just not in the same class as Podkopieva, who we've just seen fall. In my mind, not nearly the tension and the body line that Podkopieva has. But of course, at the end of the day, she landed on her feet and didn't sit down, so her score's got to be higher.
No shortage of experience from Yelena Piskin, 10th in the Worlds in Brisbane 3 weeks ago. Not as good as her performance in the Birmingham World Championships of 1993, where she came in 7th position. So she'll be looking to finish amongst the medals in this European competition. The big nations of the USA, also China and Australia, not competing. And Piskin must feel, with this solid start to her 4-apparatus campaign, that she's within a chance, but a strong challenge. The two Russian girls still in 1st and 2nd position. Svetlana Khorkina leading, and Kochetkova lying in 2nd position. We're waiting with Yelena Piskin for her scores.
Yes, it's all going to be very, very close at the top of this European Championship 1994. The Romanians have taken the women's team title, the junior European title, and they'll be really eager to make a hat-trick taking the senior women's title. But can Milosevic stand up to the pressure? We've seen her crumble before. Or can Gogean, who's always been the bridesmaid, twice 2nd and once 4th, 2nd in the European, 2nd in the 93 Worlds, and 4th in the last World Championships 3 weeks ago. Can she come through and pip Milosevic? Let's have a look and see. Gogean preparing.
The 16-year-old from Romania, now residing in Khorkina, of course, coached by the great Octavian Belu. The girls from Romania, Gogean on your screens now, and her teammate Milosevic have dominated these Europeans, bringing the gold to Romania in the team competition. The question is, can they go one better and claim European titles for themselves?
Yes, a clean vault, only a little movement on the landing. And she is so cool. And Gogean works so very, very hard that I'm sure that the majority of people would wish her to take a title, perhaps above Milosevic, because Milosevic does not really work as hard as Gogean. Gogean, a real workhorse. Split legs on the first flight and a movement to the side on the landing. See how the judges see that. Very difficult for me to make any comment as to whether it was over twisted or not, because I couldn't see the vault in perspective to the run-up. 9.862, so there couldn't have been a lot the matter with it.
And that puts her in first position. Of course, it's 2 vaults in competition 2 for the women with the aggregate. Well, silver medalist in the European Championships 2 years ago in '92. Only 4th in the all-around. This could be her opportunity to go one better and claim her first gold.
Well, it was a lovely vault. To be able to over-rotate in a straight position and jump forward just shows the quality of the vault. It's a pity that she hadn't just extended and tried to push her feet forward and rescue the landing. There, the Arab Spring, the flick-flack on, and the 1.5 twists in 1.5 somersaults. The vault, first of all, being performed by Natalia Yurchenko with just the full twist. And then the next innovation was with 1.5 and 2 twists. And Gogean taking the lead there, 9.837, but her first vault was the better of the 2.
Khorkina now finds herself in second position behind Gogean, with Kochetkova now third, and the one and possibly the final performance that we'll see from this first rotation is Latvian Milosevic. Now 17 years of age, a wealth of international experience, in sparkling form 3 weeks ago in Brisbane, Australia, where she claimed the silver medal in the all-around World Championships behind Shannon Miller of the United States of America. She was the best to qualify for this with all the point scores added together, and Milosevic now looking to add a European title to her many, many accolades.
New combination from her, that wasn't in the Worlds. Bent arms on that swing to handstand. I think that she lost her pace a little bit on the second, and she's done it yet again. In the World Championship, she overcooked it and went forward. This time she's under-rotated it, and now she literally has lost the chance of winning the gold medal, and she is furious.
A huge sigh and cry from the crowd as the big favourite of this competition takes, well, it can only be described as a tumble. As our resident expert Monica Phelps had pointed out, the rhythm had seemed to go on halfway through the routine. But for the Olympic bronze medalist of Barcelona in '92, a disaster in her first apparatus of the 4.
But she really was struggling after the ginger when she bent her arms. There, bent arm pressed to handstand, and she really had lost momentum. Mustn't have got her heels up high enough, but why on earth they choose at the end of a routine like that, a blind landing, I'll never know. Double front, very, very difficult, and in fact it was innovated by a British girl, and it's called a Mercer. But I think that she'd do well to put a half twist on that and see the landing.
Well, you can see as clearly as we that the disappointment on Latvian Milosevic's face and what it means to the rest of the field as the European all-around championships have been thrown wide open. Her teammate Gina Gogean is leading with Svetlana Khorkina lying second, and Dena also of the Russian squad in third position. But it's doubtful whether that performance will keep Milosevic in the top 5, and with all 4 apparatus scores added together, well, Milosevic looks to have thrown her medal chances away.
And not only hers, I suspect she could have thrown it away for Romania, because I don't know whether Gogean can, whilst she's a brilliant gymnast, I don't know whether she can take the pressure that is now piled on her, because she's going to have the Russian domination of Khorkina and Kochetkova forced upon her. And I think that this could, she's in the lead at the moment there, but I think that she could lose it.
So Gogean from Pizquin, Khorkina, Kochetkova, Fabrichinova, the 3 Russian girls all snapping at the heels of the Romanian and the Belarusian in first and second position. We're still waiting for the score of Milosevic to see whether she is within a chance of staying in the chase, but it's all about consistency with the 4 scores added together, and that disaster in the first apparatus for Lavinia Milosevic, the silver medalist in the World Championships and the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games, seems to have thrown her European possibilities away, as Romania have claimed the team gold, but it's not to be in the individuals. So the first of the 4 rotations has come to an end. Romania are still on target, but it's Gogean, not Milosevic. A quick commercial break. There's more action to come. Stay with us for Europeans from Stockholm in Sweden. You rejoin us for the second of the 4 rotations in the Women's European Championships from the Globe Arena in Stockholm. If you've just joined us, well, you've missed possibly the sensation of this competition. The big favourite, Lavinia Milosevic, who took Romania to team gold earlier on in the week, has blown it quite simply in her first of 4 apparatus, the asymmetric bars. She mistimed her landing and now finds herself in 17th position, 9.250. Her European all-around opportunities have come to a short and sudden end, and it means quite simply the competition has been thrown wide open. And as our resident expert Monica Phelps has pointed out, that the question lies with Gina Gogean in first place for Romania. Has she got the nerve, the bottle, to carry it through for another 3 pieces of apparatus? Very difficult, because Leonid Arkiev from Russia has 3 fabulous gymnasts: Khorkina, Kochetkova and Fabrichinova. And although they're only competing against Gogean 1 at a time, their united performance could really psych Gogean out. And I think Milosevic's mistake also puts under question Octavian Ballou. Is he tactician or technician? I know he's known as a tactician because he plays the code of points, but as for being a technician, I think he really ought to examine his gymnasts' exercise, because this is the 2nd time it's cost her and her country on that same element. I think it would have been wise to change the dismount, so perhaps tactician had better become technician a little bit more. It could also be a sweet revenge for Russia, pushed into silver medal position in the team competition by the Romanian squad, with the Ukraine coming in 3rd, that bronze medal, and a very pleasing and promising result for the French squad coming in 4th position. So the girls will now take their 2nd piece of apparatus. Just a small warm-up period is allowed, and to remind you, it is Gogean leading from Khorkina of Russia. Kochetkova is lying in 3rd position, and Oksana Fabrichinova. So 1 Romanian and a trio of Russians all gunning to take 1st position. Well, we're in the beautiful Globe Arena here in Stockholm, just 5 minutes from the centre of the Swedish capital. And of course, this arena playing host to the European Championships back in 1989. 14,000 capacity, which is not quite full, and it's very rarely filled to capacity here in Stockholm. I think the last time Bruce Springsteen played, it was 16,000 tickets and seats sold. Not quite that way for the Europeans, but I'm sure, like ourselves here in the commentary box, you're enjoying it live on Eurosport, as well as those fans within the arena. This is the first part of 2 days of live action that we'll be bringing to you on Eurosport, with the individual apparatus coming up tomorrow. And of course, we'll take a look at some of the European juniors who've also had their championships alongside the senior women. Well, we start rotation 2 with the vault. 2 vaults. The aggregate score is added to Lambrina Apostolido's first scoring from the first rotation. Now, the 15-year-old from Greece, 11th in the qualification for the top 24 for this all-around competition.
Handspring front 1.5 piked. Apostolou performing really well up there in the top 8 at the moment. But whether or not she can maintain that ranking is very debatable. But to be in the top 24, because this is what we're looking at the moment, the top 24 qualifiers who have got their placing from the team event. And incidentally, the first time a European Championship has been a team event for many years. Just managing to get to her feet there. She was really under-rotated and got her left foot back just to stabilize the landing. 2 vaults. She can either do the same vault again and try and improve the quality of the vault, or she can opt to do a second vault. But not many gymnasts have the ability to produce 2 high-ranking vaults. But if they get into the final, which is competition 3, the individual apparatus finals, they are compelled to produce 2 different vaults. Oh yes, and that was better, but that time just overdid it a little. But put in much more power, much more aggression. It just shows what she can produce. And what she really needed was a balance between the 2. This one was overdone, you see. Lacking a little bit in height. The judges are looking for an extension of the body before landing, and she still hadn't quite got the straight line before her feet hit the floor.
First position, she is the first starter of this second rotation, 9.337. Number 123 there with back to us. Irina Bulakova for the Ukrainian squad. Delighted with their bronze medal in the team competition, keeping the French squad at bay in 4th place.
Bulakova had a really good start on beam. She had a 9.687, and whilst it wasn't the top score, if she was to turn in 4 9.6s or almost 9.7s, she would be in or near the medals. But in the top 3 gymnasts, there was less than 0.2 of a mark dividing the top 3 girls. So really, absolutely every landing is crucial. Final run. And another double twisting, a full twisting double back. And Bulakova really producing some good gymnastics. She was 16th in the World Championships in Brisbane 3 weeks ago, but qualified in 9th position, and she is going extremely well. She's looking a much fitter performer every time I see her. First saw her in Birmingham just as a reserve, and she was quite a lot heavier, but really looking trim and fit there.
Young lady lying in 2nd position. This her first challenge against leader Gina Gogean of Romania. Svetlana Khorkina, 9.775 for her floor exercise. Now first of 2 vaults, the 16-year-old qualified in 3rd position for this competition, and a silver medal in the individual apparatus 3 weeks ago in Australia.
And the landing was terrific, but it just looked as though it was rotating so slowly. I don't know whether it was the angle of the camera, but she looked to float, looked as though she could have been stuck. dropped the chest, but a very, very still landing. They can't take that away from her. The Arab Spring entry, the half twist on and the Cuervo off. Cuervo being a half twist into the back somersault, and she looked pretty pleased with that. But the judging can be so unkind, because whilst she landed very still, her shoulders were extremely low on the landing. Khorkina, always so sad-faced.
Well, she focuses for the second vault, but we'll have to wait for the scoring. This could be a sweet victory, or a sweet revenge, I should say. It was Gina Gogean in the individual competition that pushed Svetlana into that silver medal placing. Now we await the judges' score, or the first of the 2 vaults. The aggregate will then be added to her first rotation score of 9.775 from the floor, and she's trying her best to stay focused and concentrating. 9.850, and that is a beautiful first vault score, and she's tempted to give us a smile there, but work is not quite over.
And if she can produce another vault with a still landing and just lift the shoulders up, she could overhaul Gogean after 2 pieces. Come on. Oh, just a little. But it was good. Very good. She's on crisp form. This is really going to be a battle. And I think that Gogean could be quite on edge. A lot of tension for the Romanians now. Same vault. But you see what I mean? If you look at that in slow motion, shoulders are very low on the landing. She looks so tall, but she's only about 5'1". She looks a good 5'5" in comparison to all the tiny gymnasts.
So surely she goes into first position, but what she's looking to do is put the pressure. There's Bulikova, 9.725. She goes into the lead as we wait for Khorkina's score. As the challenge continues. Now, lying in third position, Dena Kochetkova, the world champion in this as an individual apparatus, and of course the bronze medalist in the all-around competition. Here, for Dena, is an opportunity to once again put the pressure on the leading Romanian, Gina Gogean, and also look to go ahead of her teammate, Khorkina, who will surely go into the lead after her vault apparatus.
Double layout. Nice combination, and she's very composed. The quality, the balletic qualities, the aesthetic side and the technique of the Russians just cannot be overhauled by the Romanians. That is out of the question. The Romanians can only overhaul them by difficulty. Nice turning leap into jump into Shushanova. That's the straddle jump to front drop created by the great Elena Shushanova from the former Soviet Union. Last tumble, and Leonid Arkeyev, the coach, just walking up behind to have a good look at her. Pull back out, it was safe. Oh, and it was beautiful.
Well, the world floor champion will be doing battle to maintain that gold medal consistency. Tomorrow, it's the all-around competition this evening, but she really was in sparkling form, and memories for me there of Brisbane coming flooding back, Monica.
Yes, and I think that she put in Brisbane, I was surprised when she won, even though I thought it was a beautiful exercise. But it just looked as though it had a little bit of something missing, like it didn't have an up-tempo section. And I noticed that she's put in a little bit more up-tempo section, which added some variety. But a super gymnast. This a lovely combination. That split into the the half twist jump and then immediately into the Shushanova, right through box splits. And what I like about Khorkina most particularly is the fact that the effort that she puts in, the physical effort, never shows on her face.
Mercedes Pacheco of Spain, 15-year-old from Madrid, with her asymmetric bars routine.
Pike Jaeger and Mercedes going well since the retirement of Eva Rueda, who was the best scoring, highest ever ranked Spaniard. The Spanish camp are really looking for some new stars, and they have a couple of up-and-coming gymnasts doing particularly well here. That's a very clean exercise, and she's young, only 15. Got plenty of time to develop on that routine. Not a world beater yet, but the potential is there.
Well, the Spanish team coached by Jesus Carvalho, and they claimed a very promising 6th position in the team competition held over the past 2 days. Well, hopefully we can bring you some scores now. Our calculations, albeit a little rough and rusty, has Khorkina leading, but then we saw an absolutely scintillating floor routine from the world champion in that individual apparatus, Dena Khorkina. And if you've just joined us for this live gymnastic broadcast on Eurosport, the big favourite from Romania, Milosevic, had a disaster on her asymmetric bars routine and lies in 17th position, 9.250. Consistency is the name of the game for the all-around competition, and Lavinia goes out of the competition after her disappointing start. Now we're waiting to see Gina Gogean in her 2nd rotation, and Khorkina and Khorkina, the 2 Russians, doing a fantastic job, I have to say, to maintain the pressure on the sole Romanian. Galina Lazarova of Bulgaria with her floor exercise.
The last great Bulgarian gymnast that our viewers might remember was Boriana Stoyanova and Vodina Shirova, both brilliant floor workers. Something that the Bulgarians are very good at, and that is the choreography of floor exercises. And all through the world we see examples of that, because a lot of the Bulgarian choreographers work for the Canadians, the British. Rather a long pause in the corner though. Double whip, double twisting back, but the dance certainly no problem, but the tumbles, yes, a positive weakness for Galina. Sorry, it's yes, it is Galina.
Well, Lazarova qualified in 16th position, which is a personal best for the 16-year-old.
But quite a surprising candidate for the Bulgarians to put forward into artistic gymnastics, because she's much, much taller than the majority of the field, and having such a strong gymnastic fraternity and such a good system, I'm surprised that they haven't managed to select some smaller gymnasts, because that's generally what they would look for success. But unfortunately, Lazarova isn't going to bring back the tradition of success that the Bulgarians enjoyed in the 60s and 70s.
Yellow Russia, Yelena Piskin. on the beam. Jelena also off to a good solid start in her first apparatus. Shouldn't have said that, should I?
No, that was my role in Brisbane. But Piskun did. She had a 9.8 for her first discipline.
And now it's a disaster for Jelena. Well, one of the more experienced performers here. 10th position in the all-around competition in Brisbane 3 weeks ago. After such a good start to really losing all concentration and composure on apparatus number 2 of the 4 that have to be contested this evening.
But just look how positive she continues. 2 falls, we rarely see that at this level of competition. And I think that the crowd waiting anxiously for the score of Khorkina. Full twisting back somersault, a really difficult skill, only about 3 gymnasts in the world performing it. And surprising seeing seating free in the auditorium, but that won't be so on the individual apparatus finals. But Piskun can only get marked out of 9 because she's had 2 complete falls. And very, very disappointing for her. Because, but the saying goes, you're only ever as good as your last competition, and as soon as she can get that one out of the way, the better. But she was very lucky on that mount, you know. Quite twisted. Stood up from the front, was way off balance, and really didn't correct herself before the jump. Should have done well to forget about the combination. Then the full twisting Corbett, out of line also.
12th position for Lazarova. Asymmetric bars. 19-year-old from Sweden, Jessica Andreasson. 33rd in the European Championships 2 years ago in Nantes in France.
And that was a good exercise. Legs and feet weren't as tight as they could have been, but the difficulty was quite outstanding. And I mean, in relative terms for a Swedish gymnast, that was very, very good. It's nice to see the Swedes on board again, because in the 60s, the male gymnasts were really good, and the female gymnasts, I can remember Solveig Egman and a couple of the others being up there in the top 10 in Europe. But Jessica really did a good job on the A-bars there. Full twisting giant into the ginger. Some nice high bar work. Form itself will prohibit her from getting much in excess of, well, in the high 9s. But I think from her point of view, most definitely a personal best, and that matters a lot.
Well, we may not have sold every one of the 14,000 seats here, but the Swedish crowd certainly keeping their support as loud as they possibly can for Andreasson. Jelena Piskun there goes into 11th position, 8.400. and she sees her competition come to an end, as did Latvian Milosevic in the first round. Disaster. She's lying in 17th position with a score of 9.250 in the A bars. Now, Latvian, the bronze medalist in the all-around competition in Barcelona, really does need to draw on that wealth of experience to try and pull herself up the rankings. It's almost impossible to claim gold, but, well, anything can happen in artistic gymnastics.
And I just hope she manages to hold it together on beam, because she knows now, really, that there's nothing she can do. I mean, she now is reliant on somebody else making a mistake to get her into the medals. So if she does well on this exercise and sticks everything, that's good, positive work. Very difficult under the circumstances to turn in your best performance when you know no matter how hard you work, you're probably not going to get in the top 3. Mind you, in saying that, another 80 gymnasts are in the same situation and don't stand a chance. The flick quarter turn, the Miller, a very difficult element, but the method of getting up was so unbelievably ordinary for a world-class gymnast. Double back tucked, but being critical, some of the content, the choreography and the build-up of the routine is very poor, very ordinary indeed.
Well, more for pride and posterity than for a challenge within the competition now for Latvian Milosevic. So sad, she qualified easily the best performer of the 24 gymnasts, now doing battle for the European title and proving the form book from Brisbane 3 weeks ago, where she was the silver medalist behind Shannon Miller of the USA. Disaster has struck, and for me, well, a brave performance to come back after such a disastrous start, but not the best we've seen from Milosevic in years gone by.
No, performance-wise, it was excellent, because the actual content of the exercise she's not going to change under pressure or for any other reason. But an observation from a choreographic point of view, I think there are parts in it that are very, very ordinary and not in keeping with the European champion. So had she been... had she done a good bar exercise, I think she'd have been hard-pushed to maintain her first place in comparison to some of the quality of the Russian gymnasts.
Well, Milosevic strapping her ankle quite heavily there, and let's hope that that doesn't dampen her enthusiasm anymore, because she really does need to dig in deep now to find the determination and the will to continue. She moves from 17th to 8th position, 9.800 her score. Well, she'll probably be kicking herself this evening for that mistake in the first apparatus, but the competition be thrown wide open. This is the apparatus where Milosevic lost it, and now can Gogean maintain. Leading off the first rotation, the silver medalist in the European Championships 2 years ago, a silver medalist in the World Championships a year ago, only managed to come in 4th position in Brisbane. As we've said before, so often the bridesmaid, Gina Gogean, and she finds herself stemming off a challenge from 3 Russians. Gina Gogean leads, and her second of the 4 apparatus asymmetric bars.
Half twist, finishing the half. Bent knees in the Kachev. It's gone wrong, she had an extra swing. And so I think Romania's chances of the title have gone. Well, she scored 9.7 in the qualifying round, and she's not likely to score 9.7 for that. And she knows it. And I think Octavian Belu will be more than disappointed, not to say the whole Romanian camp. I hope that we managed to see there the bent knee, and she should then have gone straight back into the move. Bent arms on the top of the bar. But I think she knows that didn't go as well as it could have done. So we'll just see what the judges come up with.
Well, the asymmetric bars in Gogean's qualification, where she came second to teammate Milosevic, was her weakest of the four apparatus, as Monica pointed out, 9.750. So she won't be expecting her best performance, but she needs to stay in touch. Consistency is the name of the game, with the 4-point scores added together. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring you Khorkina and Kochetkova's point scores, which we have been unable. Colleagues, Swedish television, choosing to focus on the action rather than staying with each performer. 9.825. Well, that is, from our point of view, a very generous mark indeed, but the judge's word is final, and Gogean has gone into first position, and after 2 rounds keeps the 2-3 Russian girls at bay.
Well, I am surprised, but that's it. 9.825 it is. Nice vault there. Handspring front. 1.5 tucked with Barani out. She could choose to take it a 10th higher and get a full 10 tariff for the vault, but she may lose that on execution. Step back on landing, costly because the landing penalties very, very harsh. But a good kick out. That's a good extension from the somersault. Hearing a sigh there. Somebody has fallen off something.
Svetlana Tarasevic, 9.512. The 15-year-old from Minsk in Belarusia. A town that's famous for its, or equally famous, I should say, for its male gymnasts. Of course, the hometown of the great Vitaly Sherbo and his new successor, Ivan Ivankov.
Oh, yes. Well, only a 9.9 tariff, but that was a super vault. The dynamics of the vault, beautiful. The amount of flight on, the angle of her strike onto the horse, the lift off into the 1.5 somersault, nice extension, and then the landing. Very good. Very pleasing to the eye. The extension and a very secure landing.
Almost an American slap of the hands from the approval of the Belarusian coach, Viktor Khomutov. And a much better second vault. That's 9.574. 11th position for Tarasevic, so she's on target for a personal best. And she seemed to be happy with her work so far.
And a totally new name. We've not seen her before. She hasn't featured in any of the junior events, so she's obviously been blooded in, ready for perhaps the team championships, which are later in the year.
Well, each major competition brings us a whole host of new names. And Klaudia Kinska, 15-year-old from Slovakia, coached by Marta Solarova, the last of the floor exercise performers.
And I think if nothing else, she may create a new fashion in leotards. With the gold on the edge, very, very beautiful indeed. Very fast moving. Good music, good interpretation. Nice forward tumble, but not too prettily landed. Very different dance, and very good too. Well presented. Interpretation of the music good. Double whip, flick, double twisting somersault. Just the tumbling letting her down. Because unfortunately, not being critical, being observant, the gymnasts have to have qualities in every aspect of gymnastics. The dance, the elevation, the stretch, and not many of them have everything. There, the opening tumble, which was a double back with a full twist, but she really did struggle. Not a particularly powerful girl and not handling the difficult element very easily. You see, she could never have put that at the end of the exercise, for example.
Well, that brings rotation 2 to a close. And Gina Gogean, well, she's proving us wrong and keeping us right on the edge of our seats in the commentary box here, because for the second round in succession, she has kept the trio of Russian gymnasts at bay to keep Romania in first position. Lavinia Milosevic scrambling back up as Claudia Kinska there goes into 19th spot. Milosevic gets herself into the top 15 and will look to improve and hopefully see mistakes from the younger and less experienced quartet at the top of the leaderboard after the second rotation, with another 2 rotations before the European all-around title has been decided in approximately an hour's time. Gogean ahead of Khorkina. Kochetkova is third. Bulikova goes up into 4th position for the Ukraine. Her teammate Kalinina is also 5th. Then the Spanish girl Pacheco is well on target for a personal best and possibly the best Spanish female performance we've seen for some time. And Podkopaeva there for the Ukraine down in 8th position. Milosevic now in 9th spot, so she's jumped from 17th to 9th. The question is, can she pull out the performance of her life? It really will need to be that good if she's to claim a medal in these European Championships. And also disaster, we were unable to see it, for Fabrichinova, the Russian girl who was lying in 4th position, and she had a disaster in her asymmetric bars performance. Piskin for Belarus there in 18th position, and Andreasen of Sweden, well, keeping the local crowd here in Stockholm, the Globe Arena, on the edge of their seats with a 17th position so far, and she also on target for a PB. 24 competitors have qualified for this final from 106 women who started doing battle in the team competition. Romania claimed gold in the team, and so far they're on target for their 2nd gold of the European Championships. We're halfway through this final with another 2 apparatus to come. We'll take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with the 3rd rotation. Stay with us for more gymnastics in just a short while on Eurosport. The atmosphere is getting tense, and more so as this competition for the all-around European Championship in women's artistic gymnastics starts to take shape after 2 rotations. Gogean leads, the silver medalist in the European Championships 2 years ago in Nantes, ahead of the 2 Russian girls. Kochetkova is lying in 3rd position. Khorkina is lying in the silver medal spot, and I have to say that Khorkina looks the more settled, seems to be enjoying her work and not letting the nerves get the better of her performance. But Gogean has proved us wrong through the 1st and the 2nd round. It was our feeling here in the commentary box that she may let the nerves get the better of her. We're at the halfway point, and Monica, will Russia get the revenge on Romania after that team competition?
Well, I don't know. I still think that the nerves did get the better of Gogean, but they didn't get the better of the judges. I mean, it was an under-par routine. I did anticipate, I thought she did an extra swing, but when I looked it back on slow motion, it wasn't an empty swing. But it was just a substandard routine for Gogean. And I think that to come out with a 9.85 is a silly mark. They have the final say, but it's a free world. We can all have our little say, can't we?
Well, rotation number 3 of 4 gets underway. The judge's word is final, and looking to impress the panel is Dena of Russia. Her first of 2 vaults, lying in 3rd position.
Well, a little arm wave on the landing, but a couple of those would do her good. And whilst I'm on my cause of Gogean's bar score, there's nothing more annoying to rival gymnasts to see somebody get over the odds for a routine. And if they've got a little bit of extra, then I think that that will drag it out of them, because nobody is more expert than a gymnast to see through mistakes on a routine. But even though she didn't move her feet, Khorkina, throwing the arms around on the landing, just as bad a fault.
Well, 9.700. It was a bronze medal in the all-around competition 3 weeks ago at the Worlds in Brisbane in Australia. And they're a very focused and determined young lady looking to go one better in the Europeans in Sweden. Vault number 2 with the aggregate score to come.
Yes, and that's what she should have done twice. Nice vault, handspring, front 1.5, Barani out. And if she'd plopped on 2 like that, then the second one would have scored higher, because the judges are only human, and if they see 2 consistent vaults, 2 good vaults, the second one will just squeeze an extra 10th out of them. Pity about the first, but of course not the difficulty that Gogean had, so she's not likely to get into the 9/8s, or not the high 9/8s anyway.
First position with a total of 29.349 and a 9/8. Well, a very impressive second vault, and as our expert pointed out in the commentary box here, consistency is the name of the game, and in the vault you do need 2. Well, lying in silver medal position after 2 rotations of the 4 in this finale is Khorkina. 16 years of age, she qualified 3rd after the team competition where Russia took the silver, allowing Romania to take the gold. Khorkina now looking to overhaul Gina Gogean with her teammate Khorkina in 1st position. Khorkina, silver medalist in the asymmetric bars in the individual finals. So she should be brimming with confidence here.
Nice combination, lovely work. Feet and knees a wee bit slack, but technique lovely. Pull him back out, good exercise, yes. Markelov in the middle. She swings so easily and it looks so effortless despite her length. But that routine, there was just no comparison between that exercise and Gogean's. Now, I just wonder what the judges are going to give that. I'd just like to see the 2 of them on video side by side. The variety, the difference of skill, the quality of skill, the ease of swing, the straightness of the arms. It had so much more than Gogean's. 1.5 pirouettes. Under somersault, straight into clear to handstand half turn. Nice work. Lovely straight arms on the lift. Little slack knee on the straddle in the giants, like so many gymnasts do, and they incur a penalty, but there wasn't a lot to deduct on that exercise.
9.8. Leader Gogean scored in her asymmetric bar routine. Khorkina looking to put Russia into 1st position. The pressure on the Romanian and also take the lead away from her teammates, and she does just that. 9.862. Well, the crowd feel that it was possibly worthy of a 9.9, but Khorkina goes into 1st position. Khorkina goes 2nd, and we'll await the 3rd performance of Gogean, well, on the edge of our seat. Julia Stratmann of Germany with her beam exercise. the first time that we've seen this promising young German perform in this all-around competition. Julia, just 15 years of age, 16 next Friday, and also 19th position in the World Championships. So another youngster that's improving with every competition she enters.
Julia qualified for the beam finals in the World Championships in Brisbane. I can remember saying that it was a difficult debut, a final of a World Championship, but she would gain experience from it, and that experience has probably got her into the top 24 in this European Championship. Flick, layout. And just disguising the wobble. Oh, she's becoming quite a master of disguise. And this is really what it's all about, improvising through the errors. Trying to keep moving. The more flowing the exercise is, the less likely the gymnast is to wobble and lose balance. And the audience muttering now as the temperature goes up. Oh! Desperate cries there for her to stay on. And so far she's done really well to land all the skills. And triple twist, yes, well done, Julia. And that's a much better performance than she produced in the individual apparatus finals in Brisbane.
It really is wonderful to see how a youngster gets their first taste of world-class competition and then come back from the Worlds to the Europeans, and it's oh so easy now for Julia. And for those of you that followed us throughout the World Championships 3 weeks ago on Brisbane, well, we saw a completely different character. Nervous, very sheepish, frightened, and now she's smiling, happy, and almost a world-class performer. Definitely a star in the making for Germany there. Natalia Kalinina for the Ukraine, one of the more senior qualifiers to this all-around competition. Still the Russian girls in first and second position. Khorkina and Kochetkova, with Gogean the leader after 2 rotations, still to come in this third round.
Kalinina, the oldest competitor in this European Championship. 20 and lying in 5th position. Double layout. And already producing a quality of movement and a feel for movement far superior to many that we've seen. Pulling back out, rather low but fast. She really can move. And television, very deceiving. A lot of people might think she's quite heavy, but she's very, very slender in comparison to the very tiny children that we see compete against her. And I think this, the middle tumble, yes. Flick, whip, flick series into full in, back out. That the middle tumble. It was low and under-rotated. And the tumbling, the weakest aspect of her floor, but the dance very good. And for Julia Stratman, a 9.662, far better than her World Championship score of 8.8, I think she scored, with a fall in the middle and a sit down on the landing.
5th position for Julia as we follow the third round challenge of Jessica Andreasson of Sweden. Understandably, because these pictures are coming from the host broadcast of Sweden. But Jessica, well, she's had a very gutsy performance in the first 2 rounds. And, well, there's no prizes for guessing who the crowd are behind in this 3rd rotation.
But this is the piece of all. Oh, no. I was just about to say, this is the piece on home territory where you really want to do well. And as I suspected it could have been a disaster. I think this is the end of her personal best. What a pity. The very time in her life where in front of her home crowd she would have liked it all to go well. Now, having got rid of her nerves, she's flowing freely. The anxiety of the moment with her home crowd probably produced a surge of adrenaline, and it's adrenaline that makes the nerves appear, because you really need to get rid of that surge to be calm and breathe evenly on the beam. But her pulse rate probably reached an all-time high, just as the judges said go. Well recovered. She certainly has to have 10 out of 10 for recovery, but it was just a pity because, as you said, Nick, she had a really gutsy first 2 pieces, and here she just didn't get it together. Placed her first foot badly.
We saw it in Brisbane, I was about to say, Monica, with the Australian girls, some very promising young stars, but just let the pressure of the crowd. It's good to see cheers, it's good to see support for the host nation, but it often adds that little bit of extra pressure, which here in Jessica's beam exercise just seemed to tip the balance.
Most certainly. It's the over-anxiety to please. Under normal circumstances, she'd have just thought about it and concentrated. Khorkina doing well, continuing her place of 5th with 9.6 for that floor exercise.
Well, hopefully we'll stay with the beam because it's Gina Gogean who is next up on that apparatus. 9th position, 8.262. Well, she'll be lucky to hold on to that top 10 placing by the end of this rotation, but she shouldn't be too hard on herself. 33rd in the Europeans 2 years ago for Andreasen of Sweden. She's right on target. Well, we go to the asymmetric bars. Sadly, we won't be seeing Gina's performance on the beam. Hopefully we'll see it off tape. But a good look at one of the rising stars of the Greek team, Virginia Karantzou, 15-year-old, and quite promising in the World Championships in Brisbane. 15th position there, and 11th in the European Juniors last year in Geneva. So a star that the Greek coaches have been waiting to break through onto the world scene, and this could be the championships for Virginia.
Yes, she was very popular in Brisbane. Remember the Australian director following round, we saw all 4 pieces of apparatus. Nice tight gymnast. Good leg line. Good tension out of the bar. Half twist. Forward giant half twist. Back giant half twist. Double front. And that's how Lavinia Milosevic should have done it, because that's the move that Lavinia Milosevic came to grief on, and she plummeted from the lead down to 17th place on the first piece of apparatus. But she's now back up in the top 10, but very, very unlikely that she'll get into the medals. But a good performance there for the Greeks. Continuing the full pirouette on the top bar. and repeating that. And that the Kachev, innovated by the men and copied by the women from the men's high bar. Because women train on high bar just as much as men do, because it gives them a tremendous feel for single bar work. And here they build into the dismount, double front flyaway. With a bit more practice, she'll have a half twist on that, and she'll be able to see the floor as she comes in, because a front landing is a blind landing and it's never a safe one.
Well, working and talking through the routine. There's Jelena Puskin there, who's just finished her floor exercise. Well, the Swedish director must have heard me, Monica. Gina Gogean, leading after 2 of the 4 rotations in this European all-around final. She's chasing once again Khorkina and Kochetkova of Russia in the top 2 places. Teammate Milosevic is out of the battle. Gogean looking to claim Romania's 2nd gold medal of these European Championships.
Front mount, and it was solid. Gogean, a very hard-working gymnast. Flick, layout, flick. Change leg split into seesaw. An ordinary half turn. Very solid front. Split jump flick, but nothing out of the ordinary. Absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Not any really unnecessary risk. Fulfilling the requirements, but not really going beyond the call of duty. Now the dismount. Flick to 1, to 2, and double back. Very, very solid. And tactically, that's really what she should have done, to hold on to first place. She really couldn't afford an error. Probably missed out a layout in her middle tumble. I would think this, which was flick, layout, flick, might have been double layout, but she really didn't need it. She needed to stay on. So Gogean steaming ahead towards taking the European title, the first time that the Romanians will have won the title since Daniela Silevaș took it in Moscow in 1987. And the Romanian camp really, really hungry for this title.
And she holds on to it, 9.912. Well, the judges really warming to each and every apparatus of Gina Gogean, and she's keeping the 2 Russian girls at bay. We've questioned in the commentary box whether she's got the nerve, the strength and the focus, but after 3 rotations, it is Romania still ahead of the 2 Russian challengers. This was the Romanian big favourite before the start of this European Championship, Lavinia Milosevic. She qualified for this final with an impressive array of scores. Disaster in the asymmetric bars. She started off in 17th position. She's now lying in 9th spot, and with her floor exercise in the individual apparatus, she claimed a silver medal in Brisbane, Australia. She will look to go into the top 5. And with the top 5 placing going into the 4th rotation, she'll then look for mistakes and the pressure to tell on the younger and less experienced athletes or gymnasts that are lying ahead of her. Milosevic now needs something very, very special if she's to claim a medal of any sort in these European Championships.
Well, the only ground she can get a medal is on somebody else's error now. With a 9.25 score for her A-bars, it would have to be somebody else making an error. I think this would have been her championship had she not blown her bars. Oh, dodgy landing, nice triple twist though. Thought she'd hurt her ankle a little. Yes, smashing routine there from Lavinia Milosevic. One of the nicest I've seen her perform. A new routine from Brisbane, where even at Brisbane it was better than normal. It was rather ordinary, but that was spectacular. We doubted Gogean. We didn't really think that she had the bottle, but she's not only got the bottle, but I think she's had a little bit of help as well.
Well, there were many a critic that said that she was very, very unlucky indeed in the individual apparatus finals in Brisbane at the World Championships 3 weeks ago, not to take the gold in this particular apparatus. And it was the youngster, Dena, currently lying in third position in this European all-around final, that denied Lavinia the gold medal. And in those 3 weeks separating the worlds and Europeans, she seems to have worked even harder on her floor routine. And as Monica pointed out, bar that mistake in the asymmetric bars, she would have clearly been ahead with this performance. The question is, can she continue to claw her way back up the rankings and hope that the pressure tells on the youngsters later on in the fourth and final competition. 9.850, and she goes up from 9th to now 5th position with one rotation to come. Well, Milosevic is battling as best she can, and here's our first opportunity to look at one of France's new young rising stars, Cécile Conqueto. And France still celebrating their excellent result in the team competition, 4th place behind Romania, Russia and the Ukraine. She's 15 years of age, Conqueto. Born in Paris, but now training out of Marseille.
And the French really, especially the women, have made such tremendous progress on the world stage of gymnastics. I mean, they really are League One, Division One, Premier League gymnasts now. Conqueto. Oh, nice vault. Slammed down, not lifting as high perhaps as some of the bigger girls, but remember, she's got very, very light body weight. And when they've got such a light body weight, they need lots of cross speed. And Shimao there just giving a few calls of assistance from the sidelines, but undoubtedly knowing where the end of that vault lies. Full 10 tariff score. And despite the movement forward on landing, very, very well controlled. Brilliant score, 9.75 for the first. She's got a second vault. The two are averaged. And she can repeat that, or she can try and do something a little harder. Coach still bleating at her just before she's going. Very difficult to compose yourself when you've got that going on. Lots of power in the run. Oh, yes. 2 excellent vaults. And we haven't seen many people produce 2 good, consistent vaults to date. I think only Gina Gogean, actually.
Well, she's been given the opportunity to compete with only 2 performers per nation due to the European junior champion Elodie Lussac still not 100% recovered from her injury that she sustained in the warm-up in Brisbane. But Conqueto, well, she's part of a very strong French team, and 2 very, very impressive vaults indeed there, and she will be well on target for a personal best. And also, well, we're watching a star of the future, 9.756, 6th position there for Cécile. And we will follow her performance throughout the competition very closely indeed.
And I think the French must be very excited at the prospect of lifting themselves up the world ranking in the forthcoming World Championships in Dortmund, which of course Eurosport will be covering. So we look forward eagerly to the French performance and indeed the confrontation between the Romanians and others.
Well, the graphic says Pacheco, but I believe this is Monica Martin of Spain, number 30. It's going to the end, and it is indeed Monica Martin from Gogean, just 17 years of age. She too was very pleased with her 12th position to qualify for this all-around competition. Member of the Spanish team that won the Mediterranean Games gold medal in Nîmes last year.
Just coming to grief a little bit on that handspring front 1.5 twisting somersault. But other than that, Monica Martin showing some fine gymnastics, good dance and tumbling skills. All really she needs is the experience to get it all together without any errors. And Mercedes Pacheco, Cristina Fraguas, Eva Rueda, all gymnasts from the Spanish camp who have really served to put on the map Spanish gymnastics. They really had trained very well to produce a good team in Barcelona, and now the younger element are coming through. Oh, good combination, and that was so bold because on the third skill, which was a layout somersault to one leg, she was almost going off the beam. Many gymnasts would have given up. And somersault. And tuck back. Rolf over. It's like a Corbett flick-flack with the tuck before the handstand chest roll. But really a most unfortunate head position. At the end of this exercise, she'll get a penalty for the bad use of head, always bowing the head down. In the gym we call it beam hunting. Afraid to take your eyes off the beam. And it's got a statutory penalty of about 2/10. But no doubt, she's nagged about it all the time in training. It's one of the quirks that she's got to outgrow as she becomes more experienced. Arab Spring, double pike. And through in a very businesslike fashion, so positive. So focused on getting through that some of the little areas of quality have yet to be improved.
Certainly seems to enjoy her work. Good smile on her face. Well, Mercedes Pacheco of Spain, the last performer in the beam, and she will not affect the top 3 positions after 3 rotations. Gina Gogean still leads for Romania, scoring 9.912 in her beam exercise. Khorkina is lying second for Russia, and Dena is lying in 3rd position with just 1 piece of apparatus to come after this 3rd rotation. Mercedes Pacheco of Spain waits her score from the judges. Monica Martin, her teammate there, going 10th. Well, the competition is by no means over. Lavinia Milosevic is waiting in the wings there in 5th position after her disastrous start. Also getting an opportunity to see some of the lower placings, but Mercedes Pacheco, if she can stay in 9th position in these European Championships, she will be delighted, as you can see there. Very happy with her 3 performances so far. Well, we go over to the floor exercise. Nadezhda Tarvida of Latvia, the last performer in this apparatus.
Pull him back out there. And the Latvians not present in Brisbane at the World Championships since the former Soviet Union broke up. We have now several member states, so we're overrun with the ex-Soviet Union and gymnasts. Many of them who probably had hung up their kit bags and tracksuits and gone into retirement have now started training again because they have an opportunity to compete abroad and see the world and continue their education in this sport and otherwise. Well, once upon a time, in the former Soviet Union, she'd have been looked upon as a club gymnast, but now she has the opportunity, because of the breakdown of the Soviet Union into states, to be exposed onto the international gymnastics circuit. And there, finishing off with a flick, whip, flick, and another full twisting double back somersault. Certainly the Latvians not in the same class as the Russians and the Belarusians, but still proving that they can hold their heads up high on the international gymnastics arena. Double straight front there, no mean trick.
So Khorkina of Latvia brings the third of the 4 rotations. 4 rotations, meaning 4 pieces of apparatus to be contended. She goes into 20th position. The total score after 3 pieces, 26.912. Well, with 1 piece of apparatus to go, it will be a European Championship to the death, as they say, with Gogean, Khorkina and Kochetkova. Bulakova was lying in 4th position coming into the 3rd round.
And a very surprising gymnast in this competition, so much improved, offering lots of style and variety to her gymnastics. We have quite a few interpretations of the round-off vault. Here the round-off, half twist on, and 1.5 somersault off in the tucked position. There that's a cartwheel with an extra quarter turn, the flick-flack with the half twist, and a further 1.5 somersault. And I think that gymnastics, especially in the ladies' side, is becoming much more interesting. So many more variations, not the same Sukhar or the same Yurchenko. 9.575, because of its not being a 10 tariff vault, she can't score any higher than that, only a 9.8 tariff. That's the maximum score she can gain on it. But of course it's worth doing only a 9.8 tariff if the vault is performed to excellent standards. Second opportunity. She could perform a little better, squeeze her. Yes, I think it was a little tidier. But of course that vault performed with good flight and a still landing could still get her a 9.7.
And it's 2 vaults that Latvian Milosevic of Romania will be watching very carefully indeed. Remember, Irina Bulakova of the Ukraine is lying in 4th position after 2 rounds. Milosevic is now lying 5th after 3 pieces of apparatus. And it really has been consistency, the calling card of Irina's performance so far in this competition. Nothing extraordinary or out of the ordinary, but just good, solid performances in all 3 pieces to date. And this could be good enough to keep her well on target for a personal best. But again, we keep saying it, a mistake or two and she could be within the chance of her first ever European Championship medal. Irena Bulikova goes into 4th position, keeps the great Milosevic at bay in 5th, with Gogean, Khorkina and Kochetkova taking the top 3 places. Podgorpaeva sneaks back into 5th position, pushing Milosevic now 6th. Fabrichanova is 7th position, and Kalinina is in 8th spot for the Ukraine. The battle for the medals is really between Gogean, Khorkina, Kochetkova, Bulikova, Podgorpaeva and Milosevic. Well, Pacheco of Spain is on target for a PB, as is Karenzu of Greece. Canqueto of France, also a new name to this European Championships, and she will, as the coaching staff, be delighted if she can maintain that placing. Martin keeps the Spanish hopes alive with 2 performers in the top 15, and it's only 2 performers per nation that are allowed to compete. There is one final piece of apparatus to decide the all-around European champions of 1994. The question is, can the cool and very cold-faced Gina Gogean maintain that strength of mind to keep the Russian girls at bay? We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with the finale and the European champion of 1994. You rejoin us for the finale of the Women's European Artistic Gymnastic Championships, the 4th and final rotation. Romania's Gina Gogean has led from the first round. Khorkina of Russia and Kochetkova, her teammate, also of the Russian squad, are lying in 2nd and 3rd position, with Bulikova for the Ukraine and Podgorpaeva, her teammate, waiting in the wings in 4th and 5th. Kalinina of the Ukraine, her first vault in her last piece of the evening, 9.687. And the oldest performer in this competition, and it's good to see the 20-year-old still in the top 10 and with a chance of a personal best performance, with the laws after Atlanta stating that only 16-year-olds and above will be able to enter international competition after the next Summer Olympic Games.
Yes, the sport has actually turned in a full circle, because when I was 15, I qualified for the Olympics but couldn't compete in 1960 because I wasn't 16. Then the age range dropped down to 15, then to 14. And of course, with the innovation of Junior World on Junior European Championships, it's time that the age was now lifted. The Kalinina, a little deep on the landing on her vault. Again, the Arab Spring approach and the half twist before the 1.5 somersault from the hands.
Well, for a short period, if nothing else, she goes into 1st position, 38.486, and she will watch very carefully. Julia Stratmann, the sole German competitor, qualifying from 106 competitors 2 days ago to the 24 finalists for this all-around competition. 15 years of age, from Monheim, celebrates her 16th birthday next Friday, and she is well on her way to giving herself a dream present. Her final apparatus of the evening, floor exercise.
Triple twist. One and a half twisting cat leap. Handspring full twisting front tuck front finish. And for Julia Stratman, a nice 16th birthday present given to herself by herself. The result of hard work, tremendous achievement for her, not yet 16. And getting into the top 24 was a bonus itself, but getting through the competition cleanly and producing a personal best, something probably far beyond her wildest dreams at this stage in her career. There, the last tumble, handspring, full twisting front, tuck front somersault.
Virginia Carranzo of Greece on the theme. Virginia has also had a good competition to date with her 3 apparatus. She remains in the top 15 and again is on target for a personal best and is really locked in a good battle with her teammate Lambrini Apostolido. As many say, the most difficult of all the 4 apparatus to bring her evening's competition to a close.
Very difficult mount. And Virginia just breaking the continuity of that sequence, managing to haul herself in line. That's the necessary gymnastic series. 3 jumps linked together. Oh dear, she's off. Several times throughout the routine, she had really struggled to stay on. She over-twisted her full spin, and the excitement of the crowd for the performance of somebody else really having an effect on her. Most unusual, because gymnasts generally manage to shut all of that out. But it was rather an excitable atmosphere that she just couldn't shut out. Double back tuck. And well, she can put that one down to experience. She let the audience unnerve her. And that is something that she has to learn from. Right on the outside edge of the beam.
Julia Stratman goes into 2nd position, 37.699. And this is possibly what all the noise, applause and clapping was about. Jessica Andreasen, very difficult that for the youngster from Greece. But the home crowd really have warmed and cheered Jessica's competition from start to finish as she brings her evening to a close with her floor exercise.
Handspring full twisting front into punch front. And the whole of Stockholm will be celebrating the performance of this young lady, because they've been off the scene of international gymnastics for quite some time, especially in the top 24 in Europe. And one very excited Stockholm crowd. And isn't it great to have your hard work appreciated, even if you're not the very best there?
It's a 110 diameter stadium, and it's a 14,000 capacity, and it's nowhere near capacity filled for this all-around competition. But the stadium is ringing as if it were full to capacity for Jessica Andreasson. She's the sole Swedish performer this evening, and she really has done a very good job. She did so well until her third rotation, where she was almost on target for a top 10 finishing. She was 33rd in the European Championships 2 years ago in Nantes, France. She surely has bettered that. And as Monica Phelps, our resident expert here in the commentary box, has pointed out, there's nothing better than having your work cheered, applauded and respected by your home fans. Jessica Andreasson, if nothing else, has thoroughly enjoyed her work and has also kept the crowd thoroughly enjoying this championship. Corenzo of Greece goes into fourth position, 37.305. Eighth position for Andreasson, and even manages a Mexican wave from the crowd. With that result, surely that will be a PV for the Swedish number one. Well, the local support will die down a little now, because we move on to the ladies battling it out for the medals in this European Championship all-around competition. Lavinia Milosevic lying in sixth position after 3 rotations. Disaster in round 1, a fall on her landing from the asymmetric bars. She's produced the performances of her life to get back from 17th to 6th position. She needs one final magical apparatus, and she could claim a bronze medal. There will need to be mistakes from the girls above her.
But we've got to give it to Lavinia Milosevic, that she's continued the competition with aggression and style. She's forgotten the error, and she's come back and forth all the way to the very end. Nice shape on the vault. Plenty of aggression. Can't really judge its height and length, but certainly a good shape. And 10 tariff, so she stands to get in the high 9/8 for that.
2 vaults for the women. Divided by 2 to find the aggregate scoring, and 9.837. Well, Milosevic has done everything right. She really would have been clearly ahead of the rest of the field for that mistake in round 1. But again, another good second vault will keep the pressure upon the 5 performers lying ahead of Lavinia Milosevic in this 4th and final round.
She needs to nail it to try and squeeze every 10th she can. Oh, a little bit too much power and having to step forward. But we know she's a brilliant vaulter. She could have even done a different second vault, but she'll probably save that for the individual apparatus, where let's hope she can come back and make up for today's disappointment and collect some gold medals from that. So she'll have to get her head down, sleep tonight, and forget about the disaster of today and look forward to tomorrow. But it still could be Romania's day, because Gina Gogean,
first position, 38.724. And that is the target, which there are 5 other gymnasts who will need to better it. And one of those is Gina Gogean. She's leading after 3 rotations. First position she has been in since the start of this all-around European final. Gogean, second in the Europeans in '92, second in the Worlds in '93. has only ever claimed gold medals in individual apparatus, never in an all-around competition before today. Gina Gogean, with her last performance of the evening, a floor exercise, and an exercise that she certainly enjoys. Simply this, the European title of '94.
Gogean, a very, very fast gymnast, extremely nimble, handspring front walkout, full twisting front to end. Really eager not to make any mistakes, can't afford the careless foot faults, but eat away at the tenths. The end of the third round, only 0.087 dividing the top two gymnasts. So it's such a close battle. Well, clean, all of the difficulty required, and I would suspect that will be good enough to keep her in first place. If we're taking routine by routine, for my money, not as elegant as the Russians, but certainly fast, gymnastic, and action-packed, plenty of difficulty. But it's going to be very close, Nick. We're just going to have to wait and see.
16-year-old from Khorkina in Romania, coached by Octavian Belu, and the famous Romanian gymnastics school is known as Dena. And she's there. 39.411 is a very commanding lead. 9.837. And that really will put the pressure on the two Russian girls, who really are the only two performers in a position to deny Gina Gogean her first ever all-around gold medal. She's led throughout this competition. Krimerova of Czechoslovakia, 36.205, 10th position. As we move now to the vault, Jelena Pushkin for Belarus.
Pushkin particularly powerful on this piece of apparatus. Oh, yes. Double twisting Yurchenko. She went out of picture, actually, and I'm assuming it was a double twist. The cameraman lost her. But Pushkin went like Milosevic. Yes, double twist. Just a little bit under-twisted, if anything. But the biggest vault of the day so far. Same tariff that we saw. Maximum of 10. But one of the hardest ways of accruing a 10 tariff vault. And a massive score, 9.85. And she could even perform it better. Not the top score of the day on vault, but she could score the top. Just got to get her feet together on the double twist and a little more lift off the top. She's capable. Getting a massive score. Up. Oh, yes, nice. That could even be better than the 9.85.
Well, Jelena not really figuring in the battle for the all-around competition, but with two vaults like that, she could well be in line for a medal in the individual apparatus finals, which, of course, we'll be bringing to you tomorrow on Eurosport with an afternoon and an evening broadcast. So be sure to check out your newspapers and satellite TV guides, as Jelena Pushkin really does show that this is her strongest of the four apparatus.
Yes, the foot adjustment in fast motion wasn't quite so apparent. It's the beauty of slow motion, but of course the judges don't see it in slow motion. They only see it at the speed of the human eye, but there are 6 sets of them, 6 judges.
And a lovely score for Jelena Puiskin, her best of the evening, 9.868. She goes into second position with a total of 37.768. Katarina Savinkova for Estonia. First time that we've seen Estonia performing in international gymnastics. Youngster from Tallinn, originally born in Poland, coached by Vladimir Antonov.
Triple twist. And I'm very surprised that she's allowed to wear such strong foot guards, because that surely must be an advantage. It's a blatant foot support. Almost like wearing a crash helmet off high bar. Few empty patches there, but undoubtedly probably training despite the conditions. Probably very, very disadvantaged in training hours and facilities because of the political situation. So very good to see the Estonians making a debut in European gymnastics. But very debatable also the use of the footwear.
Well, it actually says, Monica, that Khorkina is a very keen figure skater when she's not training for gymnastics. And when she first came onto the floor, it looked like she'd got the ice skating boots on for a moment. But obviously she's very weak in the ankle, and that support is necessary to her. Milosevic goes into 10th position, 37.124 for the 4 apparatus. And Savinkova goes 16th, and nice to see her with Gina Gogean, who's on target to become the European champion of 1994. Wishing her all the best, and good to see Estonia represented here, a new nation, and they can only improve and go forwards. 16th position is still a very promising and pleasing result. Lambrini Apostolidou, beam exercise, her last apparatus. Disappointing to see her teammate, who came off the beam, Virginia Carenzo. She's 15 years of age.
Oh, what a shame, and after a clean routine, nearly sitting down, despairing when she felt herself going backwards on the landing from that double back, and just managing to keep on her feet.
And congratulated by her teammate there. Almost came off with an identical part in the routine, as did her teammate Caranzo there. Quite a nasty wobble, but controls it well. Well, the last rotation is drawing to a close, and the two challengers to Gina Gogean will be almost the last two competitors of the evening. Mercedes Pacheco of Spain with her floor exercise. Still waiting to see Khorkina, Kochetkova, Fabrichinova and Podkopaeva. Two Russians, three Russians and one Ukrainian to try and steal away the gold from Gogean. But Pacheco on target for a personal best.
Very powerful little girl. Just look at the speed across the floor. But a tenth for going outside of the area. But incredibly powerful. This is what gymnastics is about, actually. Fast muscle twitch, the speed of muscular reaction. She and Gogean share the same qualities. And very rarely do you get the aesthetic quality and the beauty alongside such fabulous power, because one tends to be an athletic type of fitness rather than a gymnastic and dance type of fitness. But one of the few gymnasts who has a real individual style. She isn't like anybody else. She's very, very different, which is special to watch. Oh, just making that. Great stuff. Really good to see somebody with a very individual style. Mercedes travels across the floor at absolutely a rate of knots, just like the car in actual fact. Amazingly fast twitch. Lovely leg extension in the flick-flacks. Half twist into the fly spring, straight front, and another fly spring. And is this the tumble where she went out? No, that's the final tumble where she just landed a little bit under-rotated.
Apostolidou of Greece, 12th position. She'll be happy with her evening's work in these European Championships. 36.811. And this characterful young Spanish girl really has the crowd enjoying every moment of her evening's work. We get back to the battle of the medals. Svetlana Khorkina needs to score above 9.837 if she's to steal that gold medal away from the leader, Gina Gogean. Khorkina looking to put Russia in with its first gold medal of these European Championships.
And the mount was a bit special, full twisting flick-flack into a series. Oh, broken combination, and even that could be enough to cost her the gold. Because even though she might only get a 10th deduction for that wobble, she really can't afford to lose it. Because to score in excess of 9.837 is a very big score. And she's capable of doing it. She's a beautiful gymnast. Lovely gainer, straight to 2 feet. And of course, she has got a starting value of 10. So even if she lost a 10th and didn't make any more mistakes, she's a potential of 9.9. backward combination, flick, flick. Oh, nice. Beautifully lifted, very different. Gainer double twisting. Gainer. That's a straight back somersault from one leg. And you have to lift from the one leg. And she's so critical of herself. There, the full twisting flick flack. Into 2 more flicks. But really a little bit short on the backward somersaulting series within the routine, I would say. And that's a bad mistake. And she knows that's cost her. What a shame. But I don't think it's out of the question that she's going to score. And then the high 9.7s. That's such a lovely, beautiful lift.
39.411. Gogean in the gold medal position. Mercedes Pacheco for Spain, 6th position, 38.061. Svetlana Khorkina is the score that we're awaiting. Will it be gold? Will it be silver? Really, the crowd, silenced as we are, to see whether this youngster has stolen the gold away from Gogean of Romania. There's a little smile. He's waiting with as many butterflies in her tummy as ours. 2 silver medals in Brisbane in Australia in the vault and the asymmetric bars in the individual finals, but a disaster in the all-around. She's here to make amends, and she's just outside. Silver medal for Khorkina, 39.224, but the competition is by no means over, with her teammate Kochetkova still to perform. Lying in 3rd position, as she has throughout this competition, we've worked out here in the commentary box that she needs something exceptional to steal the lead away from Gina Gogean. 9.9 if she's to take gold, but she may be the best of friends with Svetlana Khorkina, lying in that silver medal position, but all that will be put behind her now, as Kochetkova, who claimed bronze in the all-around in Brisbane 3 weeks ago, looks to go 1, maybe even 2 places better.
But if anywhere, this is the piece of apparatus that Dena Kochetkova could do it on. Got the silver in the World Championships in Brisbane. An excellent gymnast, especially that combination there. Started off, I think, for Dena, a little raggy. Just around the feet and knees, but this is great stuff. Lay out straight. Brilliant gymnastics, but I just can't believe that she could score high enough to overhaul Gogean.
Well, our calculation says it needs to be a 9.9. But she could steal the silver away from her teammate, Khorkina. And of course, well, a youngster that will be out to do battle in the individual apparatus finals.
The producer's missing the knees and feet in the early stages of the routine, just there. But it was in the early stages that she wasn't quite her tight self. And I think that could have just shaved a tenth off her mark. But the crowd willing her. And certainly a fabulous bar exercise there from Dena Kochetkova. But in my estimation, a fraction under par.
Gold, it seems impossible. The question is, can she take silver away from teammate Khorkina, or will Kochetkova settle for the bronze, the position that she has been in throughout this competition?
Or will the judges surprise us? They did when Gogean was on A-bars.
No, we'll leave that one with the judges. I'm certainly not going to stick my neck out this time, Monica. It's far too close. The tension really has been tremendous throughout this evening's competition. Dena Kochetkova has stolen the silver away from Khorkina. 39.224. And that could be 2 silver medals. It could be an identical score, if I'm correct. And it's over, Khorkina, and Silver medal, well, one better. She continues to improve, continues to surprise us. Khorkina, and she has taken the silver medal behind Gina Gogean. Svetlana Khorkina having to settle for the bronze. It's not quite over. Irina Bulikova lying in 4th position, but still put the Russian girls down another spot to put the Ukraine amongst these European medals.
Yes, she could just squeeze into the bronze medal position. By my reckoning, I don't believe she could get the silver, but I'm only going on very quick computations. This exercise is superb. Oh, yes! What an exercise!
Well, she was 16th position in the World Championships in Brisbane 3 weeks ago, and hasn't she come on since then? It's as if the World Championships has laid to rest all of her nerves and butterflies. She's produced the performance of a lifetime here, and she could, with this final performance, claim herself a bronze medal.
Well, that's the best bar exercise that we've seen today. I'm not saying it's the best of the day, because we haven't seen every single exercise, but the Jaeger went out of picture, and the producer is losing an awful lot of knees and feet. Ah, that's a better sight, better view there. Still going out of the picture, but there the half twist, which if Milosevic had learned, she'd have managed to see that landing. Of course, that's being facetious.
Well, another score eagerly awaited, and will be watched on very closely by 2 Russian girls lying in the silver and bronze medal positions. It's confirmed, and we can confirm, that the European all-around champion of 1994 is Gina Gogean, but the battle is still on for the minor places. Lilia Podkopayeva of the Ukraine, the first of her 2 vaults.
And this is somebody I wouldn't have put out of mind for contention for the title in the first place. Podkopayeva, I think many people throughout Europe and the world might have expected her to have taken the title today, because she's a really special gymnast. But unfortunately, she made a mistake on her landing on the bars.
Well, she's lying in 5th position, coming into this, her 4th and final apparatus of the evening.
Well, if you compare, she made exactly the same error as Milosevic. So let's look to see if she actually beats Milosevic at the end of the day. And then that'll give you an idea of how good Lilia Podkopayeva is.
6th in the all-around competition in Brisbane. She'll look to improve on that.
Oh, I'll tell you, the best is yet to come from that little girl. She's powerful, she's elegant, she's got almost everything. Because Gogean lacks the power and the streamlined shape. Milosevic is a very, very good competitor. She's got so many qualities. Khorkina and Khorkina and Khorkina are very slender. But Podkopayeva, in my mind, has got absolutely everything going for her. She's just got to get it all together on the day.
And one feels if the girls from the Ukrainian team can find a little more consistency, they really could become threats to Russia and Romania in the World Team Championships coming up in Dortmund on the 15th to the 20th of November. And of course, Eurosport, dedicated to artistic gymnastics, will be bringing you that competition. And Podkopayeva has gone into 3rd position, has stolen the bronze medal. Well, we're still waiting. Well, according to that, the graphic was wrong. The classification of the European Championships, and we're getting a little too excited. A mistake on the graphic. Gogean is the champion of 1994. Khorkina for Russia in joint 2nd position with Khorkina and Bulikova in 4th spot. Gina Gogean, congratulations to her. 2nd in the Europeans 2 years ago. Not the best performances that she would have liked in the Worlds 3 weeks ago, but has come strong and good, entertained the crowd here in the Globe Arena in Stockholm, and has become the all-around champion of the Europeans for 94. Her first gold, and Monica, a brave, brave performance.
Oh, undoubtedly, absolutely. And whilst I was a little bit cynical about the fact that the judging was a little bit debatable, Gogean is a grafter, a real hard worker, and she really does deserve to be Women's European Champion of 1994.
Well, that brings us to the end of this evening's competition. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's certainly been thrilling here from the commentary box. It's not the end of the action from Stockholm. We'll be back tomorrow live on Eurosport for the individual apparatus finals. And once again, it'll be an opportunity for the Russian girls to try and haul over the Romanians, who today have claimed their second gold medal of these championships. Gina Gogean adding the all-around title to Romania's team gold from yesterday. From Nick Fellows and Monica Phelps, we look forward to being with you tomorrow.